Yes, indeed. 'Tis I, Olivier. And I never come empty-handed. I always got at least a little nugget of wisdom with me. Today's loaf of bread comes to us by way of Aldous Huxley, and he says the following. No, it's not fools who turn mystics. It takes a certain amount of intelligence and imagination to realize the extraordinary queerness and mysteriousness of the world in which we live. The fools, the innumerable fools, take it all for granted, skate about cheerfully on the surface, and never think of inquiring what's underneath. Another familiar theme, my friends. The ordinary is extraordinary. Reality is surreal. Or as my good friend Eric likes to say, reality is psychedelic. Of course, in order to see this, we have to look at the world through a different lens. The everyday lens that we tend to look through isn't going to reveal this queer and strange nature. In fact, the lens that we typically wear in our day-to-day lives masks and hides all of the amazing, weird, and wonderful stuff that is just crowding around us at every moment. I don't know that it requires intelligence, but it certainly requires the ability to look at things from a different vantage point. And that's not something that comes easy if you've always looked at things from your vantage point. You gotta try and assume different perspectives. You have to try and study the world from all these different angles. The moment you start to learn about quantum mechanics, for example, say you read about the double slit experiment, you may have a feeling that the world around you and your experiences in it are not what they seem. Because how can they be? If every particle you encounter is actually doubling as a wave, and if every time you close your bedroom door, the entire content of your bedroom collapses into probabilities, how can you possibly think that the world is just hunky-dory? That reality is just plain Jane, straightforward, and totally mundane? You can't. If you go within yourself and you go deep enough, when you emerge, you will see the queerness and the weirdness of this universe. Sometimes I'm just sitting there minding my own business and this thought will pop into my head. And the thought is that I'm an ant clinging to a pebble that is hurtling through the abyss of space. I'm driving a metal box that is powered by ancient dinosaur bones. And I'm speaking into a little tiny device that allows me to broadcast my ranting and my rambling to billions of people across the world. Whenever these types of thoughts intrude, I can't help but feel the weirdness and the queerness and the surrealness of this thing we call reality. But you have to think. You can't just take it. You can't just assume that everything is as it seems. You have to start scratching at the veneer. You have to start trying on different lenses until you get one that shows you something you haven't seen before. And when you do that, the door opens and it shall not close again, for better or worse. So you've been warned. Do not seek out this perspective without knowing the consequences, without being aware of the symptoms. Yes, it does require a special kind of mindset, a flexible, open, and imaginative point of view in order to tap into the weirdness of it all. It's something that has to happen naturally, and you can't really force it, but you can certainly do things that are conducive. You can certainly do things that will increase the likelihood that you will maybe one day become aware of this extra dimension. Or maybe I'm just ranting and rambling and I have no clue what I'm talking about. I think that's probably more likely. So maybe I'll just leave it at that. Maybe I'll just stop before I say something really crazy. Thanks again for keeping me company. Greatly appreciate it. and I will catch you in the next video. Until then, live well, my friends.